And we're off. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the live All Dolphins podcast post-game breakdown of the beatdown. How's that for a little rhyming action here? Dolphins on the wrong end of a 28-6 score against the Baltimore Ravens to fall to 2-7 on the season. And yeah, I think we can pretty confidently say it's done. They're not going to make the playoffs in 2025. All that goodwill, positivity they created from their game against the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday, gone. I'm joined, as I always am after the game, by Dante, Collinelli, my deputy editor at Miami Dolphins on SI. Before we get cranking, as always, a big thank you for joining us, number one. And always, if you want to do me a solid and do that like button, even bigger solid if you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, please do so. It helps with the algorithm and all that good stuff. Wherever you get your audio podcast, you can find us. And last but not least, check out the written content at Miami Dolphins on SI.com. All content for free. So Dante, how are we looking at this game? Surprising, not surprising, obviously disheartening.
I mean, I don't know that the outcome is necessarily surprising. I think the most surprising part really is that I think if you look at this game at a play-by-play basis, I don't know that you'd come away with the conclusion that the Dolphins were 22 points worse than the Ravens on Thursday night. I think especially in the first half. I think, the second half obviously not great, but I mean, I thought they were the better football team. In the first half, they just shot themselves in the foot consistently. Really questionable fourth down play call and throw decision from the quarterback. Two things not great. You have the false start that pushes the field goal back instead of going for it. And Riley Patterson misses a field goal that he should make. So that's another one. You had the what was it? Yeah, the fourth down miss, the Malik Washington. I mean, the game was already over, but he fumbled deep in Baltimore territory. You got the ball at the Baltimore 29 in the first half, and you went 3 and out and kicked a field goal instead of scoring a touchdown. So shot yourself in the foot all night. Thought you were the better team for at least 30 minutes.
Yeah, and the defense, I tweeted this, the defense I thought played very well in the first half. Lamar Jackson, as we were talking before we hit the live button, in the first half, looked like a guy who hadn't played in a month, which is what the deal was. Like his first third down pass, he basically put at the guy's feet. I didn't think it was particularly sharp, but it looked hesitant in the pocket. Normally, he can escape pressure a lot better than he did, but the Dolphins were doing a good job. They were shutting down Derrick Henry. He wound up with 119 yards rushing, but a lot of it was garbage time stats. He was not a major factor in this game. As you mentioned, the first half, the Dolphins had a clear advantage. I don't remember the exact numbers, but they might have outgained the Ravens by more than 100 yards in the first half. But they had those key mistakes. Taj Washington, it's his first career catch. And as he's going down, he's got guys pulling at the ball, and it's a safety who wound up pulling the ball out of his grasp. And Taj Washington is a smaller guy, if you know that could be a problem where a safety can just physically out-muscle you to rip the ball out, then go down the second you run into traffic. I think that's a lesson he's going to have to learn. Obviously, you mentioned the Larry Borum play, and then the missed field goal. And then we have to mention the Ollie Gordon penalty didn't help, which looked like a completely bogus call. The only thing I could see that the officials might have thought is if you look at an angle, when the contact is first made between the Ravens defender, and I don't know if it was Calvin or who it was with the thigh. So nothing there. But as he's falling down and as the Ravens defender guy goes by, Gordon's foot goes up. And from a certain angle, I don't know if the guy thought that from that point there was contact and he decided it was a call, but it wasn't intentional anyway. It was brutal. And by the way, for those who know how much I despise instant replay, it's a situation like this because that's not reviewable, but certain plays are where you can correct an egregious mistake.
Yeah.
That's egregious, and it cost the Dolphins a big play.
I agree. I mean, I think the frustrating part to me is not so much that the refs missed a call at full speed. Obviously, look, it's a terrible call, and they should be better than that. But okay, mistakes happen. But we all just sit here and watch the replay over and over again in the stadium They show the replay over and over again. It's posted everywhere on social media. We see it on the broadcast. And these are calls that happen every week to every team across the league where the refs just miss and we just watch 6 replays and we go, nah, there's nothing we can do about it. Sorry, it's absurd. It doesn't make any sense to me. And a really underrated part of that whole sequence, by the way, is the following play where Tua throws a very catchable pass to Tanner Conner, but he forgets where he is on the sideline and doesn't get 2 feet down. That would have been an 18-yard gain on 2nd and 16, and they keep marching there. So you just implode. They just imploded after that. I was the end of that. It might have been the end of the game. Ultimately,
it wasn't a great throw either because Tua kind of let him. It was
not a perfect throw.
It wasn't a great throw.
You're an NFL tight end. You should catch that in bounds. I'm sorry.
Well, but
I'm sorry.
I'm going to say this as respectfully as I can. It's Tanner Conner. I mean, when did Tanner Conner become Travis Kelce or Rob Gronkowski?
I don't think you need to be Travis Kelce or Rob Gronkowski to catch that ball.
No. Okay. And then I'm going to give you another one. On the 3rd down play, they set up a screen, which looked like all kinds of promising. And then Jonah's out in the open field coming straight across Roquan Smith and could not eliminate him from the play. And Roquan Smith kind of got himself under Jonah and was able to make the tackle for a 5-yard gain when that has all sorts of possibilities. So, and then Jonah had another play, and I don't want to pick on the dude, but Yeesh had another play where basically the pass rusher kind of walked him back right next to Tua for a sack. And then the 4th down call, he's out in the flat against Kyle Hamilton, who's about as good a safety as there is in the NFL. Throws it high into the end zone. HN had completely stopped. What was that? Was that with HN? Did HN break was it an option route? What was that?
I don't know what was happening at the bottom of the screen with Malik Washington and Jalen Waddle. That looked like the front side of the read to me, but pre-snap, it's cover 0. You have man coverage across the field. So if you're Tua Tagovailoa in that position, what you do is you get to the line of scrimmage and you pick a matchup because you know you're not going to have time to hold the ball because there's more rushers coming than you have blockers. So you're hot. So when you get to the line of scrimmage, you pick a route and you throw the ball. And
wrong choice.
He picked Devon Achane, who's a tremendous receiver for a running back. This is not on Devon Achane.
Sorry, I'm going to disagree with you there.
You don't think he's a tremendous receiver?
No, I don't think he's a tremendous receiver. He's got the drop
for a running back. Not as a receiver.
He a lot of passes and makes things happen. He does not. To me, he does not have great hands. He's dropped a lot of balls this year. Even the one down the sideline, that's got to be a catch. I mean, it wasn't that difficult to catch.
All right, well, we'll have to agree to disagree there, but we can agree that it was not a good decision to single him out against Kyle Hamilton on a gotta have it 4th and 2 at the end of the half, and the route is a fade. It's not like, oh, it's a little dump off and he makes a guy miss. Like you're throwing a real route to the running back against maybe the best safety in the sport. Absurd. I can't wrap my head around that one. Terrible route concept, terrible decision, just bad, all around bad.
Do not like those deep throws on 4th and 1. It makes zero sense to me. There were a lot of things. The operation, and again, so much was made, and this is what happens in the media. So much was made. Frank Smith's on the side, and look how clean the operation is. Daniel Brunskill's on the line as a 6th offensive lineman. Look how great the running game goes. This is why I'm going to say it, not to go, I told you so, but I'm going to say it because I took so much flack for pointing this out, that all of that was all great and dandy when you're playing the Atlanta Falcons minus Michael Penix Jr. and you're minus Drake London. When you're playing the Baltimore Ravens, that enough's not going to be there. And even on top of that, the operation wasn't nearly as clean in this game because we have, in the first half, they had to waste the timeout because HN wasn't lined up properly. You saw on the replay, Tua immediately went to him, telling him what he was doing wrong. And in the second half, on defense, was it Rasul Douglas? Got a toe injury, wound up having to get to leave the field. They send in Isaiah Johnson, except he's late coming onto the field, and they have to burn another timeout. So, I mean, the operation was sloppy again today. We had to delay a game. I mean, it was ugly.
It was same old Dolphins if under this regime, right? It was all the problems that has plagued this group of players and coaches for the past, I don't know, since the end of the 2023 season, if you want to go back that far. I mean, it's just, they are who they are at this point. I don't know that there's a ton that we can talk about as far as like, we can get into the nitty gritty of individual play calls and performances and blah, blah, blah. But this team, this group has shown you who they are, their flaws, the strengths that they have, but the flaws are way overwhelming the strengths. The negatives are way overwhelming the positives right now. They're 2-7. They don't have a ton of juice. I'll give them credit. Like, the defense, I thought, really played hard tonight for both halves. Even, in the second half, they were getting beat up a little bit there for a couple drives. I thought they still played hard. It's not an effort problem. They just don't have it. They're limited. They don't have it. They're 2-7. They shoot themselves in the foot consistently. They're not well coached. They're not disciplined. They're not dynamic enough. They're too limited in too many areas due to years of questionable team building decisions. And this is the culmination of that. It's a 28-6 game where you lie down dead in the second half and you don't get back up.
So what you're trying to suggest is Dolphins have some issues?
Just a few.
Okay.
Just a few.
No, the sequence of the start, but by the way, maybe I'm weird like this, and unless I have to look at the game book to make sure I did not see it correctly, that the Dolphins wound up winning the coin toss and elected to receive, and I cannot for the life of me.
Was originally reported as a defer, right? And then they ended up.
Miami wins the toss, elects to receive. Okay.
Yeah.
I cannot for the life of me get that. I hate it with a passion. Give me always the ball to start the second half, and particularly since the Dolphins the second half this year have sucked. So why are you you're giving the ball to the other team to start the second half when your team has sucked in the second half? I don't get it. And this idea, I think, again, when it was 2022, 2023, and your offense was scoring a lot of points, maybe. But to do it in a game like when you're playing a good opponent in a game like this, I don't get it. And then the sequence to open the second half, here it goes. The defense have played very well, and they give up some completions, touchdown, and then the sequence to end all sequences at a time when the fans already are not happy. Holding penalty on the punt, on the kickoff return, sack on first down, throws an outlet, and it's a loss of 1 yard, then throws behind HN on third down. I mean, it was like, could it be any uglier?
I don't know if you could come out flatter if you tried. Like, truly, like, and what's really frustrating about that, and you bring up a great point at that first drive, is that, like, you played all right in the first half. I know the score wasn't what you wanted it to be, and you shot yourself in the foot a couple times, but, like, you're in this game, man. You're down by one score. It was 8 points. It's one touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and you're right there. And this team, like, they just don't have the mental fortitude to just hold the fort. You know what I mean? And just, like, relax. This team looked very tense to me tonight. It was just very tense. They knew what they were up against, and they fell behind, and they don't have it. I don't know how many different ways I can say it. They just don't have it.
And the big stat here, the Dolphins generally have been very good in the red zone. Tonight, 0 for 3. And in the first half, it was 0 for 2 with 0 points because of the missed field goal on the fourth down. Not good. And then the other one is 2 for 12 on third down. And that continues a pattern. And I had my buddy Dana, I don't know if you're on here, Dana. Love you, my man. In a mailbag question on Miami Dolphins on SI.com, you asked if the Dolphin offense was better since Tyreek Hill has gone out. And I mentioned, and I gave you the stats, and it was 6 or 1/2 dozen for most of the categories. In terms of yards per game, is a lot higher actually in the 4 games without him, as opposed to the 3 games with him. I'm leaving out the Jets game because that's when he got injured. But where there's been a big drop is in third down conversions, which is how you sustain drives. And tonight, 2 for 12, which is really, really not good. Tua had a couple of nice throws throughout the game and some stretches where he was very effective. And then there were other lulls where didn't throw the ball well at all. Should have gotten a pick. He had 2 picks. One of them is just like a wing of prayer on the one. Hell, you want to talk about ball skills? That pick by Malachi Starks, that's an impressive interception right there. Roquan Smith should have had another pick on the short throws. Why you wake him like that wasn't nice ball skills? But
safety one, Malachi Starks.
Oh, that was your
top 10 player, Malachi Starks. I love Malachi Starks, but
okay.
I mean,
that was impressive.
It was a great play. It was a great play, and he's a very good player. And I think you could have taken him at 13, but we don't need to talk about that. It's fine.
Tyler Warren should have been the pick at 13, but that's it.
That also would have been fine.
I mean, holy moly. But my overriding point on Tua is in no way, shape, or form. This game's not on him in the least, but this was another example. And then there was a discussion by that from some ESPN folks. He's a guy that you can win with, again, if everything around him is working well. He's not somebody who's generally going to make everything rise above, and that's who he was. And again, the operation, everything around the team was very, very good against Atlanta, and you saw Tua deliver and have a really, really productive game with great stats. Today is the opposite, but it just shows to me I don't think he should have gotten too much credit for the Atlanta win. Just like in this game, I wouldn't put too much blame on him.
No, I mean, I think you saw everything that's both good and bad about Tua in this game. You saw that some of the things that he can do when he's on and in rhythm and on time, and people are open when they're supposed to be open, and he's not under pressure or anything like that. And then you also saw the limitations of his game. He is not a quarterback that is going to pick up your team and drag you when you're not playing well, right? And so, when we talk about, you mentioned at the top of the show, and I agree with you, right? Like Lamar didn't look, particularly comfortable in that first half, but just kind of like did enough, right? Like just kind of took what the defense gave him, hit wide open receivers, right? And like, I'm not saying that Tua can't do that or that he doesn't do that, but I think, once Lamar got into the rhythm of the game, especially early in that second half, you kind of saw his ability to just flip the switch. And you saw the difference between an elite quarterback who can pull your team up by the bootstraps when they're 2-5 and on the road on a short week, and a quarterback who is only going to operate as well as the things around him are operating at any given time. And most quarterbacks are like that. I don't even mean to say that as like a dig at Tua. I mean, there's like 5 elite quarterbacks really in the sport. So like Tua being that way is like not really a dig at him. It's just the way that it is. And the Dolphins, I think it would behoove them to consider other options. And we'll have plenty of time to talk about that. We don't need to get into it, but we've had the same conversation about Tua in pretty much every game this year. He is who he is. You've seen enough.
Yep.
You know who he is. You and I have been on the same page about him for a while now. This is not an update for us, but this is what the Dolphins signed up for when they signed the contract. This is the player that he's been. It's not going to change. They have to decide how they want to go about it from here.
Yeah, and the biggest issue isn't so much who and what Tua is as a quarterback, is the fact that the Dolphins have devoted so much money.
They went all in.
Space for him. At that number, you should get more from your quarterback. That's the only issue there. Jalen Phillips got a sack in the fourth quarter, missed a sack at the end of the last play of the first quarter when he got Lamar Jackson from behind, couldn't bring him down. And then Jackson wound up hitting Isaiah Likely, the tight end, for a 35-yard gain. And that was, I hate to say it, but it's kind of the story of Jason Phillips's season,
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a almost sack stat, but I'd be really curious to see what it looks like for Jalen Phillips. It's got to be like, 4 at least this year, where I feel like he's gotten like 2 hands on the quarterback and like hasn't brought them down. It's gonna be like at least 4. I mean, you got the Justin Herbert one and the Lamar one from tonight. That's 2. I feel like if I really tried, I could find 2 more. And it's frustrating because I do think he's like playing well, generally speaking, but at a certain point, like you do just have to finish some of these, Yeah.
This was a game that was tough on the Dolphins physically. They were, not counting Jack Jones, who went out for one play when DeAndre Hopkins stepped on his foot, on the side of his foot. Dolphins lost 4 players to injury. Chop Robinson went out with a concussion. Iffy Melifonwu was injured. Shocker. That was I want to say a toe injury. That dude, I mean, that's like, my God, the dude is always hurt.
I feel bad for him.
I do too, but holy moly, Rasul Douglas went out with a toe injury in the second half. And the fourth one, is Ollie Gordon too, who sustained an ankle injury. And apparently per the Amazon Prime broadcast went in for x-rays. He was tackled from I think it might have been Malachi Starks actually fell into him from the side.
Yeah, he got rolled up on the sideline.
Yeah, so it was a rough game physically, as well as that. For those wondering, now this was the Dolphins' last game before the NFL trade deadline. No, I'm still not anticipating a fire sale. I would suspect there will be a couple of moves, one, maybe two. Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, one of those.
Yeah, I don't know that they have enough good players to facilitate a fire sale unless you start trading Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane and Patrick Paul, which I think would be absurd. No. So I agree with you there. I think probably one or two moves, maybe you get something for Rasul Douglas. He's played well enough to merit a 5th round pick. I don't know. I would take it if anybody offers me a 5th. But the interesting conversation is like, what is the incentive of the people currently in charge to make those moves? That's
correct. That's a question that makes it a very tricky situation, because who's going to make the decisions, and are they making the decisions for the good of the franchise, which they might not be a part of? I still think Chris Grier is going to be some part of the organization in 2026, even if it's not in the GM role. Mike McDaniel, I'm still not going to close the possibility that he might return. I don't think it looks particularly good, but who knows? But it is very tricky as far as what the Dolphins are going to do. So
I mean, they should sell, right? Like they should. Obviously, they should try to get as many picks for veteran players who aren't a part of the future as possible. But
aren't a part of the future.
But what is Chris Grier's incentive to sit up there? And even if he's, whatever, he gets reassigned, is he really going to sit there and be like, well, I'll trade a 5th round pick for Bradley Chubb? I don't know that he will. I don't know that he has an incentive. Mike McDaniel definitely doesn't. He has no incentive.
Chris Grier does if he has some sort of indication that he's going to remain within the organization. Because, again, Mike McDaniel's incentive right now is basically to try to save his job. And how is he going to do that? By winning games. So he doesn't want to trade any players away. If Chris Grier is told you're a part of the organization next year, even if you're like a consultant or senior executive, whatever title they want to give him, I absolutely do think he's going to do what's in the best interest of the future long term. But step one is identifying which players do we want to roll with in 2026. And Rasul Douglas is not that old. Does it make sense for the Dolphins to talk to him about maybe try to sign him to a 1-year contract extension right now? Because he's been very, very good. Like Matthew Judon, if you can get anything for him, it's see ya. And Bradley Chubb, whose cap number right now is $31 million for 2026. He's not coming back at $31 million. He already took a pay cut to come back this year. You're going to be willing to take another one? I don't know. Jalen Phillips, UFA next off season. Dolphins have to make a decision or some sort of an idea of, is this a guy we want to move forward with, and what's going to be the price point? So they have decisions to make. But right now, they still have, here's the depressing part, they still have 8 games left, starting with the Buffalo Bills. No, it really, really sucks on every level, because it's like they're not playing for anything. I still don't think they're going to be bad enough to land like a top 3 pick, because they're still better than Cleveland, Tennessee, or New Orleans.
Are they better than Cleveland though? Are they?
Overall, I think they're better. Cleveland's offense is just so bad. I mean,
it's fair. It's fair. It's just funny because Cleveland beat them.
Oh no, because Cleveland kicked the Dolphins' ass
convincingly.
Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Again, I don't know.
It's tough though, right? Like
it's depressing.
Tough.
And Dolphins play the Buffalo Bills, next week. and watch the Dolphins beat the Bills. Just screw with everybody, because the Bills, there is be that element for the Bills is they're playing Kansas City this week, so they, the letdown factor, whatever, could be in place. So anyway, we're digressing from the game. Any other thoughts on the game before we
let's hear what the people have to say. Let's hear from the people.
Could be ugly. Guys, be gentle. We're going to start with Matt O with the $10 donation. Thank you, Matt. Much appreciated. Did you know our best player, Jake Bailey, is married to someone named Bailey? Al Michaels knew when he was struggling to keep people interested halfway through the third quarter. Not only did I know, Matt, we also did a story. I believe I did a story on it, or part of a notebook actually in the off season, because his wedding was covered by, I want to say, People magazine, maybe. It was in Mexico, and they did a big to-do about it. They had the photographer, and they wrote a story about it. And if memory serves, she used to be with New England, maybe a former Patriots cheerleader. So, but yes, I was aware.
Yeah, I am. I have Googled her. She was a former Patriots cheerleader.
Okay, so there you go. Julian, and you still haven't told me, so I'm still going to think I'm pronouncing your first name correctly. Julian, thank you very much for the donation. Much appreciated. Will Tua get benched? It's time to play Wilson and see what he can offer. If Wilson is bad, play Ewers. It's going to take a bit, but I think at some point there will be a change of quarterback to see what the Dolphins have, but it's not going to be Zach Wilson, who's got a 1-year contract. To me, it's going to be Quinn Ewers, who is your rookie 7th-round pick, and who Dante hates, but who the Dolphins need to see if there's something there moving forward. Come on, Dante, say it.
Dude, it don't matter which quarterback they go to. I'm going to be upset. It doesn't matter. I agree, though, from a team building perspective. I think at a certain point you just throw them out there and see if you hit the lottery, right? Yep. And I don't think that you did, but hey, can't hurt, right? If they're going to lose to Buffalo next week, and then they're going to go to Madrid, and Washington will probably be healthy at that point. They'll probably lose that game, so you're looking at 2-9.
You mean Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, Jaden Daniels, right? Well, they should get the receivers back too, because they're out right now. Debo and them guys are out, so probably get those guys back. So you're looking at 2-9. I don't think you start Quinn in Madrid. That would be strange. I don't think you start him against Buffalo. That would be strange. I think you kind of let that go. You have the bye week, right, when they get back from Madrid as well, and then I think you start talking about maybe putting Quinn, or if they want to go to Zach, they can go to Zach. But I think that would be the date for me, at least.
Well, New Orleans is the first game after the bye, and we could have an all-rookie matchup with Quinn Ewers and Tyler.
That's as soft of a landing as you're going to get for a rookie quarterback coming off a bye against New Orleans.
Pardon me, Big Bad Noel. No, thank you very much for the donation, my friend. All 3 phases of the game were firing 4 days ago. Execution was tragic. It was bad. It was rough. And again, but it was a one-off against Atlanta. We had not seen that the whole year. And we were back to the whole thing, except to me, in the first half, the defense actually was playing better than it had played pretty much all season, except for Atlanta. But again, Atlanta were different circumstances, and today we were back to being bad. The Daddest Dad, thank you, Daddest Dad. A bright sign I liked was tight end 85. Looked like a good safety blanket for Tua tonight. That would be Greg Dulcich, who they signed after he was released from the New York Giants. Yeah, he's a good receiving tight end, and that was the book on him coming out of UCLA.
Yeah, if I start talking about the Dolphins management of the tight end position, I'm going to get upset. So I like Greg Dulcich. I like Greg Dulcich. The fact that he was not promoted over Tanner Connor earlier in the process is very frustrating to me. Only one of those players has been a productive receiver at the NFL level, and it's not the one that you've been looking at for the past 4 years and have hung on to and consistently thrust into the lineup despite being a below average player. So frustrating. And I think there's room. Is Tanner Connor moving the needle for you on special teams?
No, but he plays every game. He plays a lot of snaps on special teams, and that's how he's managed to stay on the roster.
So can Greg. It's not doing it for me. I'm sorry. I'm not getting there. In the Darren Waller games, you can talk me into it because those targets should be going to Darren Waller. Fine. But we've had enough non-Darren Waller games this year. And I've seen enough of Tanner Connor, who can't find himself on the sideline, does not catch passes overly well. Greg Dulcich had a 500-yard season.
I know, but it's
a niche problem that I have, but it bothers me a lot.
I see that. But the Dolphins have this habit, and they've had this habit for a while, of latching on to young players who are very marginal and thinking they can get them to a different level. And a lot of times they can't.
No, it's arrogance. It's arrogance, and it's a problem.
They've done that on the offensive line, and that's come back to bite them on the offensive line too. And they did that there, but it drives. They have, like I said many times before, the idea of trading for Darren Waller to me was never problematic, again, because his contract's very low and you give up nothing in the draft.
Yeah.
But to not protect yourself in another way, and mind you, this happened in July. Before that, they knew they were probably going to wind up trading Jonnu Smith. That didn't come up like all of a sudden, oh, we have a contract situation with him. And then I see Oronde Gadsden too, like balling out with the Chargers, and it's like, you had 3 fifth-round picks, and he went after all of those 3.
And he's a legacy. It's the easiest slam dunk that you can have.
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Matt, again, thank you very much, Matt. A frustrating part about McDaniel is I could see him learning from this and being a top head coach 5 years from now somewhere else. The Shanahan tree is real. Thanks for the post-game therapy stream. That's what we're here for, Matt. I don't know. You know why I'm not sure? Because McDaniel, while a very, very bright guy, has a very atypical personality for an NFL head coach, and that's who he is. And I don't know that changes. And I think that may be his biggest issue as an NFL head coach. So I don't know. I hope I'm wrong, because I really like Mike. He's a really good dude. That for him to, like, if he lands, if, as we all think is going to happen, he's going to wind up being let go from Miami, that he lands on his feet. He will land on his feet, at least as an OC, pretty quickly, that he gets another shot as a head coach, and that he nails it.
Yeah, we're on the same page there. I think Mike will do a good job if he gets another chance. I do. He doesn't strike me as the type of guy, as much as he's been very arrogant here with the Dolphins, he doesn't strike me as the type of guy who wouldn't reevaluate after getting fired. Like I think if he got another shot, he would do a decent job with it.
Is it arrogance or confidence, or maybe overconfidence?
Is there? I don't know.
Is it semantics?
It's a thin line, right? Like, what's the difference between overconfidence and arrogance? Like, I don't know. Like, arrogance does have such a negative connotation. And I don't know that. Like, I'm with you. Like, I like Mike the dude. Like, I think Mike's a good dude. And I think he resonates with players more than people give him credit for. But it's hard for me because it's just like, he hasn't changed. He hasn't adapted. It's the things that we talked about with hanging on to these players for years. It's he's responsible for the offense. He's the play caller. That's his thing. And it's the same problems that they've had for 2+ years. That's why I use the word arrogance, because they know what the problems are. They know some possible solutions. It took them until last week to run jumbo sets. It was the first time in 4 years. That's why I say arrogance, but overconfidence, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Birthday Salami, the donation. Thank you very much, Birthday Salami. Much appreciated. Season's over, but thankfully Frank Smith is now on the sideline. If we're reaching for positive, A-Chan ripped off some runs and Dulcich looked decent. I detect some sarcasm on the Frank Smith comment.
Just a bit.
I could be wrong. Yeah. No, A-Chan was A-Chan. A-Chan's a good player. He's just a very good player. But he's another one you have to have a conversation about, because he's eligible for a contract extension after the season. And don't think Mr. A-Chan's agent not going to be on the phone with whoever is handing out contracts saying, yo, take care of me. And it becomes the question of how much you want to spend.
I think you wait on that one, though. Like, to me, that's like you cross that bridge in the off season or at next year's trade deadline. I don't think you do that now.
Okay. No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Ian Mason, thank you very much, sir, for the donation. Much appreciated. Got spanked by Lamar with Josh Allen on deck. Ode to joy. This team better sell players not named A-Chan and Paul. I would add, you can't trade Kenneth Grant. You can't trade the guys on rookie contracts who are very cheap and still have high upside. Kenneth Grant, I wouldn't give up on Jonas Avainaya just yet.
No.
Patrick Paul, you mentioned. Chop Robinson not going anywhere. Jalen Waddle's not going anywhere. His contract is team friendly for through next season.
Yeah, he's also good. I feel like that gets lost in the shuffle sometimes. Like, you are allowed to be a rebuilding team and also have good players. You don't have to have no good players. You can have a few. It's okay. I promise. It'll be all right.
Yeah, you don't want to do like 2019, and even 2019 they had a couple of decent players too. What do we got? Birthday salami. Oh, that's funny. You make me laugh, birthday salami. Thank you for the donation.
What's the Keon Smith
trade when he had the chance?
Did I miss the memo on this one?
For those not familiar with birthday salami's reference, is Chris Greer told us during one of his rare, he does selected press conferences throughout the year. It's like 3 or 4. And one time, I don't know exactly how it came about, but he basically volunteered the information that teams had called him in the offseason about making a trade for Keon Smith, which led all of us media members to go, okay. So
sure, Chris.
He's another one of those guys. The Dolphins have hung on to him for 2 or 3 years and got a whiff of the starting lineup this year, and that didn't last. And that's birthday salami again. Good thing about Jalen Agba missing so many sacks is that he can be brought back on the cheap. That's funny. That's a great question. Would be what exactly is going to be Jalen Phillips's market? That's a great question.
That is a good question. I think it'll be higher than people think. I'm not going to lie. I think if he stays healthy and he doesn't get hurt again for the entire year, he plays 17 games. Let's say Miami doesn't trade him, hypothetically.
Okay.
17 games, pressure rate sits somewhere in the 16 to 18 range, which is what it's been this year. Ends the year with like 6 or 7 sacks. I think that dude's going to get paid like a decent penny. I do.
He's making 13 million.1, I think, this year on his 5th-year option. And
yeah, I think he gets a lot more than that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I think teams are desperate for edge.
Sure.
Really desperate. And when guys go to free agency, they get a hell of an increase at those positions. Tackle, edge, corner, quarterback. They all get a huge bump. Even wide receiver.
I just don't know that he's an impact player. Whoa, where'd you go? Yeah. Omar Davila. Omar, thank you very much for the donation. Malik Washington was awful returning punts, ball sailing behind and front. Yeah, he had one that was a bad whiff. Misjudged it, but dude's been really, really good all year.
At the end of the first half, right? He just let the ball go by him.
Yeah.
For some reason, that was strange.
Oh, that was a 2-minute. Wasn't that the 2-minute drive? That may have been the 2-minute drive where he kind of killed it. I'm pretty sure it's a 2-minute drive.
It was the last one before the half. Their last drive before the half.
So he killed that drive by a misplay. But the guy overall has been very, very good. He had the fumble at the end when the game was out of reach. And we had one hellacious play, I think it was in the first half, where he did the reverse. Should have been dropped for like a 6-7 yard loss and cleared out some traffic behind the line of scrimmage and wound up going left and gaining 7 yards on the play. That was some impressive open field running right there.
Agreed.
Whoop, I got that one here. Oh, sorry again. Okay, let's go. Considering the late hour, we may not go as long as we usually do, but we'll grab a few more here. Whoop. Let's see what we got. Oh, Barrington, lighten up, my man. Shut up about Dulcich. We suck. Wow, holy moly.
Oh man.
Yeah. I'm trying to say, okay, man, a lot of shots at Jalen Phillips. It looks like over here. Let's go from
people are frustrated. That's
why.
I
kid. Garth Mall, thank you very much, sir. How heated do you think fans were at the game tonight? Dude, I've never seen this before. I tweeted this. Fans with paper bags over their heads. I have never seen that in Miami. Maybe I've missed it before. I haven't seen that. There were boos starting in the first half, particularly after that ugly sequence early in the third quarter. Yeah, no, it was bad.
A lot of Ravens fans early in this game too.
Yep.
A lot of them. A significant amount. So
no, the fans
are not happy.
No. They're not having it. Justin, thank you very much for the donation, Justin. Fan base always blaming Tua. It's all we hear. It's the whole damn team. Greer can't put together a good roster. The fan base always blaming Tua. The fan base that is not Tua supporters, yeah, absolutely. And I've said this all along. It's crazy to me how the opinions of Tua are so extreme on one side or another, where I think he's somebody who doesn't move the needle terribly much in terms of affecting the outcome.
I mean this in the nicest way possible. He's not even a quarterback who's like worth debating this much. Truly, he's been the same guy for years.
I know.
Like there are quarterbacks like Jordan Love and Baker Mayfield and some of the younger guys, Michael Penix and Caleb Williams, who are like at polar opposites of the spectrum depending on the day of the week. And I think Jordan Love's really, really good. And I think Baker Mayfield's turned himself into a good player. And I still have hope for Caleb Williams and Michael Penix Jr. and blah, 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 blah. But like those players are just, we don't know who they are. And we've just it's so weird to me that like Tua has just been a good quarterback for years now. And we just sit here and it's like, he's either elite, and if you don't call him elite, everyone gets mad at you, or you have the group of people who are like, he's trash and you can't win any football games with him, despite the fact that the Dolphins have put together several successful teams around Tua. So it's just very weird to me. It's very frustrating because I think it was very easy to figure out who Tua was 3 years ago. This debate has been over for me personally for 3 years. My thoughts have not changed. It's very strange.
I might go back further than that. I think I've been very consistent about Tua, and I got killed for it by some other media members who shall remain nameless because I'm not going to dignify from saying very early on that it's like because all you heard was in 2021 of like, well, if you look, he's got nobody around him, and it's like, okay, but if he was special, he would make more out of it than he is. And then in 2022, when they built a team around him, a track meet around him, he started balling out. And again, I don't have an issue with Tua as a quarterback so much as I do with the contract the Dolphins gave him, which does this to them, even for 20. Oh, Big Bad Matt. Thank you, Matt. Wildly different skill set, but Tua reminds me of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Moves the offense, but has an obvious ceiling. Gunslinger was a bit more fun to watch.
I can't. They're too different for me.
That's very, very, very different.
Yeah, they're too. I understand what you're saying in the sense that like you kind of know what your ceiling is with those players, right? But like, I don't know. I think they're wildly different, right? Like Ryan Fitzpatrick was kind of the definition of like, you don't know what you're going to get on any given week. And Tua's kind of the direct opposite of that, where like, generally speaking, you do know what you're going to get every week. So yeah, I don't know if I can get to that one.
No, very different. I do think Fitzpatrick was a guy that teammates rallied around a lot more than they would with Tua, and he was very, very marginal early through most of his career, and then toward the end of his career, starting in Tampa, and then when he came to the Dolphins, that 2020 season, he was very good, and the Dolphins were 10-6, but interesting. But yeah, Fitzpatrick was fun to watch. Omar, thank you very much, sir. Tua's arm is much weaker this year. His deep throws are pop flies now. I think he is hurt. He keeps saying he's not, and he's on the injury report with a left thumb that's been going on for a month now, and he's been asked, I think, a couple of times whether it's an issue, and he says no. Yeah, I've seen some throws, not down deep shots, but intermediate where he's got some zip on the ball. The touchdown pass to Malik Washington against the Falcons on the move had some nice zip on it. But yeah, no, Tua's never had a very strong arm. And if his feet are not set correctly, yeah, that ball's going to sail.
Yeah, we've talked about this on the show. I think probably every week. I think I've seen a reduction in the arm speed and ball velocity since week one. It's still showing up for me. So I don't know that it matters, though, ultimately, to your point. Like, Tua was never a guy who was going to fire the ball. I think where you see that regression is some of those, like, intermediate throws into tight coverage that he used to hit, and they're not hitting this year, and they're sailing on him, and he's trying to drive the ball, and he can't. We wrote a story about that 2 weeks ago. You can check it out on the site. But, I mean, to your point, like, he was never throwing bullets out there. So, but a small reduction matters, right, for a guy who isn't throwing bullets. So,
yeah, but again, every once in a while, because I'll give you another one tonight. Was the fourth down pass to Jalen Waddle near the sideline. I think it may have been the fourth quarter. That had some nice zip on it.
Yeah, the fourth and long conversion. Yeah, I mean,
every once in a while they
Yeah.
But again, it's like his feet have to be set like really, really well, and get his whole body into it. The arm, if it's a little bit off, the arm just not there to get it done. Okay, what John said right here: hit the like button, everyone. There you go. Dave, how you been, Dave? Long time no see. Why? What a surprise! Really thought we were going to win. When will this nightmare end? So sick of being irrelevant. Thank God for us.
You got 8 more weeks, Dave.
Yeah, I know, right? This is rough. Okay. Hold on. No. Hold on. Total 916. Mike has a problem with his terrible play calls. He puts his team in terrible position instead of playing to their current strengths. Keep Tua from hurting his team by calling runs to the backs. Again, Tua. I don't think Tua was the biggest issue tonight. And were there issues with his play calling last week against Atlanta? I mean, again, it's great when we're playing the result. Here's the thing too. Last week, it's like everybody's in love with the fact that they're running the ball so much. This week, the first drive, it's 3rd and 6, and they run Devon Achane. And my first thought was like, really? That's what we're doing? And then it's like, okay, well, everybody loved the running game last week. That's what you were clamoring for.
Okay. There's a big difference between run the ball more and run the ball on 3rd and 6. My problem with that run call was we're calling sweep to the outside with Tanner Connor as the POA blocker. I mean, give me a break. All right. Give me a break. All right. If you're going to run the ball on 3rd and 6, run it up the gut so it's 4th and 3, and then you go for it instead of trying to stretch the defense to get 6 yards on 3rd and 6. If you're going to run a perimeter play, throw it to the perimeter so it's out there quicker and you pick up more yards. That's my problem with that play call. Yeah. It's less to do with is it run or pass. It's more, why are you running 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage on 3rd and 6? That's like, why? We outsmarted ourselves on that one. Like, I don't know.
Do you know the one play I can't recall seeing the Dolphins call with Mike McDaniel as head coach? It was a draw play. I don't recall that.
Oh man, I can't think of one either. Okay. Let's see if I can find one. Get some free time.
Go ahead. That'll be a challenge.
You might be right though. I can't think of one.
What do we got? Toby. How are you, Toby? Thank you very much for the donation, Toby. Kyle Mackey had more moxie, heart, and clutch gene than Tua. The guy had balls. Tell the people who he is, Boop. I will gladly do that, Toby. Because I know, Dante, you don't know. You weren't even born when Kyle Mackey played. So in 1987, we're going back a ways here, there was an NFL strike. And the NFL owners didn't want the league to stop playing for all that time. So they hired strike replacement players. And they wound up playing 3 games with strike replacement players, even though there are there's a small group of regular players who cross the picket lines to actually play. And there was a very, very good documentary on Hulu about the Washington Redskins at the time and the pride they took in how well they played. They were 3-0 during their strike replacement games. The Dolphins were 2-1, as I recall. And Kyle Mackey was the quarterback for the Dolphins. Wore number 15. Had one big game. No, they were 1-2 or
they were 1-2. I'm looking at his pro reference page right now.
Okay,
1-2.
There you go. And the one win was a 42-0 win against the Kansas City Chiefs.
How about that?
Okay.
All right. If you had to guess, how many touchdowns did Kyle Mackey throw in 3 games?
I believe he had one very good game against the Jets, I want to say maybe. 3 maybe.
Correct.
Okay.
See, there you go. That's
that
you
was
know it. You got it.
That was a guess, but I did know who Kyle Mackey was. So that's who Kyle Mackey was. Okay, let's see. About to wrap it up here. Who on the team should we not trade? We already discussed that. Dana, I'm going to acknowledge you because you're my buddy. Dana said, I fell asleep. Did we win? Ha, 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 ha. You're funny, Dana. You're funny. What happened here? Just so Expos Cap went to Baltimore. No, I have it right here. There you go. How dare you say that? Expos Cap not going anywhere. Kevin John, Tua is our biggest problem. No, he's not. Sorry, I disagree.
No, I disagree.
Okay, got a couple more donations. We take care of our donations, acknowledge them always. Barrington Francis with the super sticker. Thank you very much, Barrington. Very, very much appreciated. Toby, thank you very much. Toby says, I was the one who has been telling you about the draw play. It hasn't happened in 4 years. Okay, there you go. Technically, I guess if you're in shotgun, if it's a delayed handoff, would that constitute a little bit of a draw play, or is a draw play quarterback dropping back and then boom, the handoff?
Well, that's the difference between a quarterback draw and a running back draw, right? The quarterback draw, definitely not. I don't know that they've called a single one of those.
No, when I'm thinking draw play, I'm thinking about
about a quarterback?
No, running back, like a running back draw. But again, like I said, like a delayed handoff in the shotgun formation kind of mimics a draw play, quarterback draw. No, that's also a good play, but you can't run that with Tua. You just can't.
No, I was thinking maybe if they called it with like Skyler once, maybe, but I doubt it. I don't think so. Yeah.
Which is something else, because I mentioned the thing that bothers me the most about Tua is the contract. The fact that there are a lot of things you can't do offensively, like any sort of design run for the quarterbacks. That's outside of the equation. So that's going to wrap it up, folks. Tough night for the Dolphins. I know really there are some fans who actually are happy because it will eliminate any pretense that this is a team that had any sort of potential. I wrote consistently on Miami Dolphins on SI.com that I wasn't necessarily expecting it, but the possibility did exist because it did until it doesn't. Anything can happen. That's why they play the games. That's why you play the game. But anyway, they fall to 2-7 with a 28-6 loss against the Baltimore Ravens at Hard Rock Stadium, continuing their primetime failures, and it's been really bad. So he is Dante Collinelli, deputy editor of Miami Dolphins on the site. Check out his fine work at the website, which is the same one, except you slap a .com on there, Miami Dolphins on SI.com. Content is all free. Please put a like on the podcast. Would be very much appreciated. Welcome all comments. And that's going to wrap it up. Programming note, we're doing a Dolphins Collective tomorrow, I believe at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Sure, that's going to be a fun one as well with TD Finstock, Dudley Durong, Omar Kelly, and myself. And for the All Dolphins podcast, we'll be back here. I think we'll be back here late tomorrow afternoon. Mike McDaniel is addressing the media via Zoom on Friday morning. So until then, thanks everyone for joining as always. Much appreciated, and have a good night.